This is Maestro. Happy Saturday. And I'm here with the man himself, the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. Joe Habib. This is Ringside Reporter Live. Joe Habib, happy Saturday, fam. How you doing, man?
What's going on, brother? How's everything going, man?
I'm good. I mean, we got a lot of fights to look forward to. Benavidez Plant next weekend. For those that are interested, Jarrell Baby Miller is back today on Pro Box TV. But the fight we're here to talk about is Tank Davis taking on Ryan Garcia, Ryan Garcia. I would say it's for something, but we know that the Reggie belt at 135 is not on the line for this one. It is at a catch weight of 136 pounds. And interestingly enough, Joe, there's also a rehydration clause that is being implemented for this fight. Before we talk about Tank Davis and what he's had to say about this, and what Ryan Garcia's had to say about this, and what Ryan Garcia's co-promoter, Bernard the Executioner Hopkins, all-time great, obviously, Hall of Famer, obviously, has to say about this. Give us a brief perspective, Joe. It doesn't have to be brief. Talk to me about catch weights and kind of your understanding of catch weights, when they've been implemented, how they've been implemented throughout, your time watching boxing.
Well, catchweights have been involved in the sport even long before I've even watched it, right? You can go as far back as we look at fighters like even Jake LaMotta fought in catchweight fights, right? So catchweights are not anything new in the sport of boxing, but I have an opinion on them. I'm not a big fan of them because there's enough weight classes in boxing as it is right now. So to add these catch weights, it just kind of murkies up the waters a little bit, in my opinion. It adds another layer to the sport that I don't think it really needs. Now, you can argue that catch weights are a necessary evil in the sport for specific fights to get made. Catch weights have to be implemented, right? That could be the argument if you were going to be a proponent of catch weights, or if you don't mind them. Now, do I hate catch weights to the point that if there's a catch weight fight, does that mean I hate the fight? I'm not going to watch the fight. I'm going to boycott the fight. Am I going to harp on it and just make that the focal point of the fight? No, that doesn't mean that. But the thing is, when people put out a narrative out in the universe and they state an opinion and they say things like, well, this specific fighter is asking for the catch weight because he's the A side, he's the leverage, and he's just flexing his A side muscle. He could beat him anyway, regardless of where they fight at in terms of the weight. Well, if the fighter, when it comes out of the fighter's own mouth that the reason why I have this catch weight in place is because this guy is bigger than me, this guy could rehydrate up to 180 pounds, then you have to acknowledge that maybe in this instance, right? And in my opinion, in just about every instance where a catch weight is implemented, there is a concern on the person's part who requests a catch weight that maybe the other guy is too big for me. And if I fight him at the weight class in which he's more comfortable and most comfortable in, I'm going to be at a disadvantage, and I could possibly lose because I am concerned with that guy's size being a factor in the fight. And that is very well the case in this instance here, because Tank Davis himself told you that, but the cognitive dissonance in the Tank fans and these sycophants, if you will, all Tank is doing here is flexing A side muscle. He could beat him at any weight. And the evidence and the circumstantial evidence, whatever type of evidence you want to call it, suggests otherwise. And if you're being objective, you would have to acknowledge that.
I'm born in the 80s, raised in the 90s. I've been watching boxing closely since the 90s, since I was in middle school. I remember back in the day getting the Ring magazine, getting Sports Illustrated, especially when guys like Roy Jones Jr. happened to make the cover. I've never heard of a fighter himself justify the catch weight or say that it's being implemented because the other guy is bigger. Uh, I believe I heard Tank say that, and in fact, I know he did. We're gonna play the audio later, but you've been watching the game a little bit longer than me, Joe. Have you ever heard a fighter justify a catch weight?
Well, this is what makes the Tank defense from the Tank fans ridiculous, because the fighter said it out of his own mouth. And to answer your question, no, I've never ever heard a fighter say the reason why this fight is at a catchweight is because the other guy's bigger than me, because the other guy will rehydrate up to 180 or whatever. Normally what would happen is the fighter would just say, oh, that's something you have to talk to my management about. That they were the ones that put that in there. Even Floyd, when he was asked about why is this fight with Canelo a catchweight, well, that's what he wanted. He was the one that said it. Like, you never actually hear the fighter concede that the other guy is bigger than me, and that's why or even imply that that's why the catchweight has been requested, because I'm concerned about the other guy's size. Tank openly says it in interviews, said it at the press conference when he was criticizing Ryan Garcia, saying all you got is a left hook, and then Ryan Garcia responded to that, well, then why are you trying to weight drain me then? He walked up on the podium and said, look how big you is. You bigger than me. You can rehydrate up to 180 pounds, right? So this is, I could be wrong here, but this is the first time I've ever heard a fighter admit that I'm requesting this catch weight because you're bigger than me and I'm trying to level the playing field.
Saturday edition, everyone. This is Beating the Odds with Beeb. This is Maestro with Beeb. Thank you for joining us. We are going to be going live for the second half of the show on my channel, where we'll be extending this topic. First question of the day is, and as I got to big up Nando as I get his comment off the screen, does Tank Davis think Ryan is too big for him? That's the question. Give us your answers in the chat. Let's get the discussion going. Second discussion, which again is going to be on my channel right after this, we're going to be looking at level of competition. Davis, Garcia, by the numbers, whose resume is better? But right now, we're focused on, does Tank Davis think Ryan Garcia is too big for him? I want to get to some of the comments here, Joe. Nando, big up Nando, supporter of both of ours. Big up to him. He's out there in California. MEZBX asks, did Tank put a weight clause in catch weight on Mario Barrios? Joe, I know you know the answer to that.
Everybody knows the answer to that, and it's a big fat no.
Yeah.
So that's what makes this even more interesting here. That makes us kind of question this even more if we're being objective. And I use the key word is objective.
Objective is key. Jose Garcia says catch weights are understandable when a fighter is moving up several weight divisions, whether it's Manny Pac or Canelo. Other than that, it's pure chicken shit. Let me ask you this, Joe. Does Canelo get a pass? Does Pac-Man get a pass? But are we being a little too tough on Tank Davis by questioning this catch weight?
No, we're not, to answer your question, but let me expand upon my point a little bit. I've been on YouTube since 2009, and every time a catch weight fight was announced, I would always say, well, I'm not a big fan of this. I don't like catch weights. And I always said, when a guy wins, and when the smaller guy wins, it's always going to be mentioned that, okay, the guy who came down in weight, the caveat's always going to be, the asterisks always going to be, was he weight drained? And that's why he lost. You could look in a lot of fights, right? The history of the sport. You could look at all the catch weights, or you could look at fights where the bigger man moved down. And oddly enough, and surprisingly enough, and shockingly enough, people always say, well, the bigger guy has the advantage. No, The smaller guy, historically, in history, has won. When Donnie Leilon moved down and fought Sugar Ray Leonard, he lost. When De La Hoya moved down and fought Pacquiao, he lost. When
Pacquiao Cotto.
Pacquiao Cotto's another instance, right? Even when Leonard, smaller man going up against Hagler, no catch weight, but once again, he's the guy moving up. He won, right? So you can go in history and just look at all these instances. Usyk versus Joshua, another guy. I mean, obviously he had a couple fights at heavyweight, but he's a smaller man moving up from cruiserweight, right? Holyfield, another cruiserweight guy, moves up, has success. So Floyd Mayweather moving up. Like if you look at when he moved up, fought De La Hoya, beat De La Hoya. The smaller man usually has won in all these instances, right? Now, does that mean that Tank being the smaller man, automatically he's going to win? No. But historically, the smaller guy moving up or the smaller guy involved in a catchweight fight usually wins, right? Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez, smaller guy, he won. Now, Beeb, you could say, well, Beeb, well, those guys in those instances, the smaller guy was way more skilled. Again, that skill is a subjective word, but you can argue that the smaller guy was probably the better fighter in terms of skill. Roy Jones moving up to heavyweight to fight John Ruiz, no catch weight, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. The smaller men, as George H. said, have usually been great, and the bigger man, more often than not, has just been good. So you got a great small man fighting a good big man, right? So in this instance, you have to ask yourself, is either one of these fighters great in the grand scheme of things when you look at the trajectory of the sport, right? Neither one of these guys are pound for pound guys. They're not on anyone's pound for pound list, right? Neither one of these guys are the man in their division, right? So you can say that. So you can argue the resumes. I think the resumes are quite comparable, quite similar. We're going to go into that in the next show. So can we really make a separation where we can say the little guy is great and the bigger guy is just good? In this instance, in my own humble opinion, these guys are pretty much even, in my opinion. And that, again, that's just my opinion. It's probably statistically insignificant because Tank is the favorite. You ask the majority of people who's going to win this fight, they're going to pick Tank. But I am starting to see some people pick Ryan now. So as this fight nears, I'm picking Ryan, you're picking Ryan. I think D-Style's picking Ryan too. So we're starting to, because Ryan opened up like at a plus 270. He's down to like a plus 220 on a lot of betting websites. And I think come fight time, he may go down to a plus 150 or a plus 180. So as time goes on and people are really thinking about this fight, they're starting to become more people supporting Ryan in terms of thinking he's going to win. The tide is starting to turn a little bit here. So is this the great little man fighting just the good big man? I'm going to make an argument and I'm going to make a statement saying no. So because these guys are comparable and there's not a gigantic gap in talent, in my opinion, again, that's my opinion, maybe the catch weight won't factor in that much. And by Ryan saying, well, I usually rehydrate up to 148 anyways, he just recently did move up to 140. Is this catch weight that big of a deal? And in my opinion, what this catch weight tells us is you would think it's not a big deal, but according to Bernardo Hopkins, according to Oscar De La Hoya, according to Ryan Garcia, it is a big deal because without it, the fight wouldn't have got made.
Well,
they also added in not only the catch weight, but a rehydration clause on top of that.
Yeah, we're going to get into the rehydration clause.
So you would think on its surface, it's not a big deal. But if it's being said that the fight wouldn't have got made without it, then obviously it is a big deal. Go.
Yeah. No, we're gonna get into the rehydration clause in a moment. I do want your response though to a couple arguments here that I'm seeing in the chat. The first is from Pugilism. No weight clause versus Barrios because Barrios had a belt. Belts matter when there are weights to enforce. Does the fact that no belt is on the line change your opinion on 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 a catch weight?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go for it.
When Miguel Cotto fought Sergio Martinez at a catchweight, was there a belt on the line?
When Miguel Cotto fought Sergio Martinez, there absolutely was.
Was there a belt on the line when Bernard Hopkins fought Oscar De La Hoya?
There absolutely was. There was also a belt on the line the first time Canelo won his first world title, and I believe that was at a catchweight.
Correct. So we can go back in history, and you guys got to be careful when you make statements. You got to be careful when you make statements because we have seen several catchweight fights where there was belts on the line. And once again, that was another instance where the smaller man won, where Miguel Cotto beat the bigger Sergio Martinez, right? So again, here's the thing, guys. Be careful when you make statements because if you don't have a strong argument, then don't try to make it because with all due respect, you just said something and we destroyed your argument. We destroyed your argument because we've given examples, not just one or two, but several examples in history when belts were on the line and catch weights were implemented and requested in these fights. So you're wrong. That's it. So you're going to have to retract your statement, whoever made that statement in the chat.
We have another statement here from Checkmate Boxing. Ryan asked for the catch weight, not
True.
Ryan, but y'all ignore that.
That's not true. That's not true because again, we're gonna tell you, and we're gonna provide evidence to you where it's been said that the fight would not have gotten made if it was not at a catch weight, and we gave into everything, meaning the Ryan Garcia side. You can't make statement again. Please take all of your emotions out of this discussion. Let's just be men. Let's all let our balls hang. Let's let the testosterone flow through our body and stop acting feminine and stop being like little children, and let's be men and let's have an objective conversation and make objective statements. Maestro and I are huge Tyson Fury fans. We go to bat for him every chance we can get. If this fight with Alexander Usyk does not get made, it will be his fault.
100%.
We're
the only two guys that I would say are objective about Tyson Fury, honestly.
And we're huge Tyson Fury fans. I
think
Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight of all time. Not resume-wise, but in my personal opinion,
I have him right behind Lennox Lewis.
Yeah, in my personal opinion, I think he would beat all the greats at heavyweight. Does he have the greats resume? No. So there can be an argument against him because he doesn't have the resume, and I concede that point. But if I match him up against all the greats in history, I think he would beat him. So again, I have my favorite fighters too. Sugar Ray Leonard fought Donnie Lalonde for 2 titles on the same night, and he made Donnie Lalonde come down to 168 and forced him to put his 175-pound title on the line. I love Ray Leonard to death. One of the high points of my life was actually interviewing Ray Leonard. But to this day, I think it was a wrong for him to force Donnie Lalonde to put that 175-pound title on the line. I thought it was a cheap way to be able to get five titles in 5 different weight classes and call yourself a 5-division champion when you fought the light heavyweight champion at 168. Not just 1 or 2 pound catch weight, but you forced this guy down to 168 so you can have 2 titles on the same night. I thought it was ridiculous, and I love Ray Leonard to death. So you can admit your bias towards a fighter, but you gotta be objective in your analysis of that fighter when you feel he does something that you don't agree with. So again, let's speak objectively here. Let the balls hang, man, please.
So back to pugilism, he says, and it's not right to do catch weights for belts. Just because it's done doesn't mean it's right. But as always, it's about leverage and position. Belts matter when there's weight to enforce. Yes, there's catch weights done before, but in this situation, you wish there was a belt on Ryan's side. Look, I had a discussion about this on one of the shows that I do. For those of you that don't know, I do punchlines. I do mano a mano with Kenny T, who co-hosts the show with me. And then I also have started something which we're going to do next hour, which is a Maestro Square Garden. And I had a discussion with Kenny about this 136 maneuver, I will call it. What a maneuver. You remember when Vince McMahon used to say that back in the day when I was a kid? Yeah, it is what a maneuver. Because the maneuver Tank is pulled is I'm also enforcing a one-way rematch clause. I'm also having this fight at 136, meaning if I lose, I still keep my Reggie belt and I get a rematch. If I win, well, Ryan's ass out doesn't get a rematch because it's one way. And we're also going to discuss the rehydration clause as well. But let's have Ryan talk about it in his own words. This is courtesy of Fight Hype. You guys should check out Fight Hype. Great channel. They've got some good footage from the press conference here. Let's have a listen. And whenever you want me to pause it, Joe, just give me a little hands up. Here we go.
Big fight. It's great that it's a huge fight, but I'm here to win. I got determination you've never seen before. You like to fight guys that don't hit hard. But guess what? I do hit hard. And when I hit you with that left hook, yeah, what else? You're going to see every watch. When I hit you with it, you're going to be like, what? You're on the floor. Sleep. Good night. Exactly. What else? Then you're going to wake up in the hospital. What else? I'm awake now. What else? You're going to wake up. Then when you wake up, then what? When you get slept, all right, you're going to see in the ring. You're going to see in the ring. Okay. Oh, thank you. You gave me everything.
Interesting to me, he don't have no IQ. He don't have no footwork, but I need a rematch clause. I need a rehydration clause, and I need a catch weight. Okay. Especially if he just has a left hook, too. But here we go.
Listen, your coach, you're giving me everything, Dad. I know what I got to work on now. Good one. You're so smart, man. So when you get up here, you better finish a sentence when you get up here. I need to hear something. All right, we're going to be ready to do it. I've been called out. You know, I've been calling him out for a while. I see a lot of things I could knock you out with. Okay, so when you get hit with the right hand, then what? Okay, we're going to see. Okay, cool. And you couldn't knock out Cruz, who was what? Smaller than small. You couldn't do a lot of things. You couldn't do anything.
I'm going to pause it right there. We're going to get into the resume next hour, but it's very interesting to me that, yes, most of Tank's guys have been smaller guys from lower weight divisions. And when he has stepped up against guys like Barrios, there were no rehydration clauses, from what I understand. But let's continue.
You were losing to Barrios, were you not? Were you not losing to Barrios? Were you not? Okay, so he won. So he was.
It doesn't sound to me like Tank Davis likes what he's hearing right now, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me like he getting a little bit emotional off of these words that Ryan is saying. But let's continue.
I'm not even worried about it. I'm not even worried about it. So why'd you weight drain me?
Good question.
So why'd you weight drain me? So why'd you fight at 140? I'm small. I got a little friend. Hey, you don't. I got heels on. Okay, and you had a person.
Oh, I got to play that part back because I laughed over it. Here we go.
Heels on. Okay, and you had a purse on yesterday. Shut up. Yeah, you got one on now. Come on, man. I'm gonna beat him on my.
Did you not?
And that's it.
Did you not just hear? Did you not just hear Ryan ask Tank? Then why you try to weight drain me then? And what did Tank say? He said, "Look how big you is."
Look how big you is, and look, it wasn't just there. Shout out to Joe Habib because Joe Habib did some research here before the show, and Joe Habib found some gems in terms of clips. Tank Davis didn't only say it on stage; he said it off stage as well. Again, let's have a listen. Here we go.
Who is it? Someone on your team? What's the thought behind it?
He's a bigger fighter. He's a bigger fighter, and he's only growing. Why would I fight somebody that's already? You see how he was coming from like 170, 180. Why would I try to? Not have a rehydration clause in there, so he could go back up to 150, 160 around the time we fight? No.
Checkmate boxing in the chat just got checkmated. Your man's just told you that he wanted the rehydration clause. Your man's just told you.
At ringside reporter live, Tank wanted the fight at 135, no clause, and Ryan tried to get the fight at 138. Tank gave a concession at 136 with the rehydration clause. Stop the propaganda lies, Joe. Joe, stop the propaganda lies.
Now I know why that dude calls himself Checkmate Boxing. You know why? Because every time he sits down at the chess table, he gets checkmated.
Two moves. In two moves. I mean, come on, yo.
Man, tip the king, bro. Tip the king. You just got checkmated.
So maybe he needs to hear it. So let's run it. Here we go.
180. Why would I try to? Not have a rehydration clause in there, so you could go back.
Dude stuttering. What the dudes do when they stutter? They know they backtracking.
People want you to be a dumbass. That's not being smart.
You prove that when fighters want to make a fight,
I would be a dumbass if I didn't request the catch weight and the rehydration clause. I'm being smart. That's me being smart. Your man said that. Not me. Your man
said it.
That.
I didn't say that.
He said that. Your man said that.
I didn't say that. He said that. Joe didn't say it. He said it. He said that. So, I mean, I'm asking the chat the question, but at the end of the day, I mean, Tank Davis answered the question himself. Does Tank Davis think Ryan Garcia is too big for him? Yes, he does. Hence the catch weight. Hence the rehydration clause.
Shout out to Basic Kid, right? Because Basic Kid made a great point. He looks at a fighter's energy before a fight. And if he sees things like, for instance, in this Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk situation, he's saying to himself, well, one guy keeps stalling it, man. And he's saying to himself, why is one guy stalling it? And in Base's opinion, and he has an argument to make, based upon the circumstantial evidence, you can make this argument that Tyson Fury doesn't seem too enthusiastic about getting in the ring with Alexander Usyk. Whether that's true or not, an argument can be made based on the circumstantial evidence. And because of that, he's picked not only because of that, but a component to his pick is because he's looking at the fact that one guy wants it more than the other. Now, if you're on the fence with this fight, right? And you're saying, well, this is a tight fight. I could see either guy winning. But then there's circumstantial evidence out there to suggest that one guy wants it more than the other. One guy's a little bit hesitant and was hesitant to make the fight. One guy's showing a little bit, tiny little bit of not having full confidence. He's showing you that he's a little bit concerned. He had to put certain things in there. He's showing you that maybe there's a little bit of doubt in his mind. So in a tight fight like that, that could tip the scales in the other guy's favor, right? And I do think, in my opinion, as time goes on, you will see the odds even out. You'll see the odds even out. So if you really like Ryan, I would suggest probably putting a bet on him now, because if you do it close to the fight time, you're not going to get the odds that you're going to get now. That's just my opinion.
Great advice from the Beeb, and I wouldn't have expected anything less, because this is a special Saturday edition of Beating the Odds with Beeb. And if you're just joining us, Joe just ethered somebody in the chat. I mean, I think Tank Davis actually ethered homie in the chat. I mean, with his own words. But he's back for more. He's back for more. This is back to checkmate boxing. Checkmated in 2 moves, but he's back for more. Round 2. I guess we're playing speed chess today. At Ringside Reporter Live, why don't you play the clip with Calvin Ford saying Ryan asked for the catch weight and they put the clause in as a penalty?
Because it doesn't exist. And let me ask you a question, brother. Why would anyone put something in a contract that is punitive towards themselves?
You know what? Last time my union negotiated a contract, Joe, they negotiated for us to get less pay, not more.
Again, I listened to that interview, and you know what Calvin said in that interview? To try to minimize the whole controversy. Well, we got to do it too. We got to do it too. So
you love that Maryland. You love that Maryland slang. That twang.
Shout out to Calvin. Shout out to Calvin Ford. I got nothing bad to say about the dude.
Shout out to the DMV, everybody. Checkmate boxing. Checkmate boxing. It says here, Joe didn't ether nothing.
Shout out to the DMV.
Being biased.
All Calvin Ford said in that was, "Hey man, we got to do it. We got to do it to you." That's what he said. I ain't got a problem with that. He never said that Ryan asked for it.
So, I mean, I am gonna.
Just say you're capping for Tank.
Checkmate says I'm being biased. So, just to support maybe something that Checkmate would like to say that he's not saying, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the other side of this equation, and what I will bring up honestly is the Joey Gamache fight back in the day with none other than Arturo Gatti. As I get rid of this ad, I am a fan of low calorie drinks, as I know Joe is, but it's not time for that now. Overmatched Joey Gamache blames state, and in this case it's New York, for brutal bout with Gotti that left him damaged and depressed. This is from the Daily News here in New York City back in July of 2009. And they're talking about Gamache's February 2000 bout with Arturo Gatti, where Arturo Gatti famously put on a lot of weight after the fight and then proceeded to lay down a beating on Joey Gamache. Checkmate Boxing didn't bring this up, but I'll bring it up. Is there a place for these catch weights and rehydration limits in terms of fighter safety? Is this something maybe, Joe, that people need to consider a little bit more?
Well, in that situation, I don't think that the commission should have been questioned, but they did that. That was the reason why the IBF did, added a second day weigh-in in their rules. If you fight for an IBF title, you can't be more than 10 pounds over the weight limit the following day. So that was the reason why they did that. But here's the thing. You're forcing a fighter to weigh in twice for a fight. You're adding 2 weigh-ins for the fight. Here, if a guy can make the weight on the day of the fight, right, then that should be it, in my opinion. Now, this was an exception to the rule where the bigger man just pummeled the smaller man. Now, you can make an argument that did Arturo Gatti beat Joey Gamache because he was just a better fighter or because he was bigger? Well, we've shown evidence where the smaller guy has beaten the bigger man several times. So did Joey Gamache lose because Arturo Gatti was just bigger, or did he lose because Arturo Gatti was just better? That's going to be a subjective opinion, because Canelo, the night of the fight, looked 3 times the size of Mayweather. Sergio Martinez, the night of the fight, looked three times the size of Cotto. All right? John Ruiz looked 3 times the size of Roy Jones. All right, so we can go down the list. Donna Leilon looked 3 times the size of Sugar Ray Leonard. We can go down the list and give you examples of when the bigger man, even though he was significantly bigger, lost. De La Hoya, he was about 168 pounds when he fought Floyd Mayweather, right? And Mayweather was 150. So Mayweather was giving up 18 pounds, very similar to what Joey Camacho was giving up against Arturo Gatti, right? So does that next day weigh-in really make a difference? Because the more skilled guy, regardless of size, unless it's like ridiculous, I'm not saying Naoya Inoue can beat up friggin' Canelo Alvarez. I mean, that's, but when you got a guy that's a weight below, sometimes two weights below, the more skilled guy is still going to beat that bigger guy. We hear so many times, oh, Tank's knocking out heavyweights in the gym. So, I mean, again, size matters, but
you do hear that, don't you?
Size does matter, but I do think that people tend to overestimate it a little bit. My opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And when it comes to the issue of fighter safety, Joe, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that the issue of the weight drain is more of an issue of fighter safety than a rehydration issue, because I mean the weight drain is what takes much needed fluid out of the brain, whereas the rehydration is more about replenishing, right? Replenishing your body with all of the nutrients and micronutrients that you would have deprived yourself of to make weight, and of course water as well, which is obviously important to the body.
Here's the problem in boxing, and not only in boxing but in life in general. We tend to try to throw the baby out with the bathwater in a lot of these situations. We do what I call, and many people have called, what's called an overcorrection. So as you just alluded to, you have that second day weigh-in, right? And you're thinking you're leveling the playing field and you're helping out the smaller fighter. But in helping out the smaller fighter, what are you doing? You're hurting the bigger fighter. So what did you really do? You didn't level anything out. You made an overcorrection in with the thought process of I'm helping out the smaller fighter here. But you didn't help out the smaller fighter, because in turn you hurt the bigger fighter. So once again, boxing does what I like to call an overcorrection. What did you really
that look
here?
like? Did that look like a healthy Chris Eubank Jr. to you?
Nah, not at all.
I mean, but this is the scenario that was at play, right? When he was, again, this is the last time I remember a catch weight combined with a rehydration clause. I mean, it's a double whammy at the end of the day. Scalebenders bringing up Duran and Barkley. Hot Pies is saying, in some cases, the weight can have an impact 100%. Javier Martinez, it says, Duran gave Marvelous Hagler a hell of a match, and he was very undersized. I'll be honest with you. I prefer having a healthy, smaller guy go up against a bigger guy than having a bigger guy weight drained and dehydrated fighting a smaller guy that's perfectly healthy. We got Checkmate Boxing joining us. Checkmate Boxing, what's good? Happy Saturday.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Listen, I'm just here. I listen to you guys. I really hold on. Is my mic working? First of all,
your mic is sounding crystal clear right now, fam.
You sound great, brother.
All right, cool. Yeah, listen, both of you do some funny guys. Let me tell you why you're funny. Why I think this is funny. Because you're only giving one perspective. I'm giving you facts. Ryan Garcia asked for the catch weight, but you guys, everybody is going this negative route and trying to blame Tank.
Prove it.
I did prove it. I've made several.
You didn't prove it.
I've proved this several. I've proved it over and over again. I will send you. I will. Well, hey, you going to finish? You going to let me talk?
100% you can talk.
Okay, so therefore I can paste you a link. I made a video. You can look at the video.
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
I am.
Put it in the
That's what I'm
chat.
about to. You gonna let me finish? Maestro's been posting the video, so I'm gonna show you post this video, and then you can see for yourself. But my point is, I'll go ahead and get it now. But you guys are so biased.
We'll play it. We'll play it. We'll play it right on the show for you.
Did you hear me talk about Joey Gamache? Did you hear me talk about his issues?
I'm talking about strictly Ryan versus Tank. Again, strictly that again, Tank won at 135 because they're both 135 fighters, and you guys are ignoring the fact that this is Ryan's.
I thought didn't Leonard Ellerby say that Tank is a 5-belt 3-weight division world champ? I could have sworn I heard Brian Custer say that multiple times.
That has nothing to do.
But I mean, he already won it. Supposedly, he won the title belt at 140, right?
Okay,
didn't he win the world title belt at 140?
Okay, Maestro, you can't overtalk me, my brother. Let me
go for it. Go.
Okay, he's not a 140 fighter. He is a 135 fighter. He went up to 40, challenged Barrios for his WBA 140 belt, 140 world belt. And the fact of the matter is, there was no catch weight. There was no rehydration clause. He did it. He beat the bigger guy who's bigger than Ryan, who's stronger than Ryan. And guess what? Knocked him down 3 times and ultimately knocked him out. Okay, so therefore, actually, guess what?
What does he need it against Ryan then?
No, Ryan is the one who asked for the catch weight. Why can't you guys understand that? So
prove it. You haven't proved it yet.
Let me get this link. Let me get this link while I'm talking, because you guys again. And once I prove, let's do $100. You want to do $100 catch?
I'm having a tough time believing that Ryan didn't want this fight at 140, the same division where Tank claims to be a former world champion. Leonard Ellerby said 3-division, 5-belt world champion. Brian Custer says it nonstop. In fact, he was saying it instead of showing the undercard of the Tim Tszyu fight last week against Harrison. We missed the first 6 rounds of that because I was listening to Brian Custer tell me nonstop that Tank Davis is a 3-belt, a 5-belt 3-weight division world champ. So if he already won a supposed world title at 140, right, against the guy who you just said is bigger than Ryan Garcia, and they didn't need a rehydration clause or a catch weight for that fight, well, why does he need it? Why does he need it with Ryan Garcia then?
What I will bet you, I'll bet you $200, and I will cash app you $200 if you can find me where Ryan Garcia asked for a 136-pound catch weight with a rehydration clause. That's what I will bet you.
Well, first of all, Ryan did not ask for 136.
That's my argument.
No. Ryan asked for a catch weight. Okay, Ryan is the 135 fighter. Why did Ryan not choose to fight at 135?
His last fight was not at 135, and he's been speaking for a while about moving up to 140.
That doesn't matter what he's been speaking about. He's been listed and ranked at 135.
Okay, so which of the two? You asked me a question. You asked me a question. I'm going to answer your question.
But I was still finishing my statement. That was part of my statement.
Go for it.
My statement is when Ryan is listed at 135, right?
He's at 140 now.
No, listen.
His last 2 fights are at 140.
His last
2 fights are 140.
The to go catch weight was 139, and the Fortuna catch weight was at 140. Anytime 2 135 fighters are going to fight,
140 is not a catch weight. 140 is not a catch weight.
Sir, anytime 2 135 fighters or any fighters who are in a part of a particular weight class fight outside of that weight class, that is considered a catch weight. Why? Because that is not of the division in which they belong to and they are ranked in. Okay. So if Ryan said that he is perfectly comfortable with the catch weight, and Ryan said that he has no problem with the 146 rehydration clause. Why? Because he walks around the ring at 148, and Ryan is at 146 now, 35 days out from the fight. But you guys want to go ahead and blame that on Tank. Let me paste this video in the link in the chat so you can go ahead and play that, Maestro.
I'll put it in the private chat, please, checkmate. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to a screen share myself, and the screen share I'm going to go to myself is one of Ryan Garcia's box rec. Now, if we look at Ryan Garcia's box rec, just to keep it a buck with everybody, all right. Javier Fortuna, he weighed in at 139 and 3/4. Emmanuel Tago, he weighed in at 138 and 1/4. And you have to go back to 2021 for a lightweight fight, which was against Luke Campbell. So my thing here is there's only one guy who says that he's a former world champion at 140. His name is Gervonta Tank Davis. Ryan Garcia, you're saying that Ryan Garcia is the 140-pound fighter. I agree with you. We just saw it.
No,
Tank Davis is the one who actually is the quote-unquote former world champion, and I'm using air quotes here, at 140. And you said it yourself. Barrios is bigger than Ryan Garcia. No rehydration, no catch weight. So why with Ryan?
Tank weighed in. Let me make a statement here. Tank weighed in heavier than Mario Barrios, actually. He weighed in at 139 and 3/4. Barrios weighed in at 139 and a half. So if Tank was such a small junior welterweight, then why didn't he weigh in at 136, 137 against Barrios? He weighed in at 139 and 3/4. And didn't Tank miss weight in a lightweight fight before?
Listen, no, he did not. He did not.
He didn't miss weight.
You're moving it. You're moving the goalpost. We can go back to that. I can checkmate you on that as well. No,
he didn't miss weight. He didn't miss weight in the 135.
Are you gonna let me answer? Okay. When he fought against what's the Cuban guy? His first 135 fight.
Uriorkis Gamboa. Let's qualify that. Let's qualify that. 40-year-old former featherweight fighting on a blown Achilles.
Hold on here. Gervonta Davis weighed in at 136.2 pounds ahead of his battle with Uriorkis Gamboa for the vacant IBF lightweight title.
Are you gonna let me finish my statement?
So he blew.
Go for it.
Are you okay?
40-year-old blown Achilles.
Y'all keep tag teaming. Are you gonna let me finish my statement?
Go for it. I got your video queued up too. Don't worry. We can play it. We can play it. I got it queued up.
Okay. Now, first of all, when he weighed in, he missed the weight the first weight, and he came back and he made it at 34.8. Okay, correct. So he did not technically miss weight because Ryan has missed weight on several occasions, including missing weight at 130 as well. Okay, so this is the point. Tank did not technically miss weight at because he made it the second time at 34.8, and his last
one. Did he miss it the first time?
Did he miss it
the first weigh-in? Did he miss it the first weigh-in?
I just said that he did not. I said, well, but if he technically missed the weight, he wouldn't have made the fight.
Can I ask you a question? If someone misses weight the first try and then they come back and make it the second try, would it be safe to assume that they had trouble making that weight limit because they had to weigh in twice? Is that a fair assumption on my part to say?
Dude, Tank was unfocused, undisciplined. Everything was going on.
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
He was not mature.
Is it a safe assumption? Is it a safe assumption on my part to say he had problems making that weight?
Of course he did, because he wasn't focused. He wasn't training. He had just gotten into the accident, everything else. So he was undisciplined. It was a whole bunch of things that's going on that he was not focused, but he made the 134.8. That's it. So go ahead and cue that video up so y'all can go ahead and eat some humble pie.
To question, are you happy? Do you happen to be from the DMV?
I'm from Maryland, yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. I got it. I'm just asking. I'm just asking. There's a little bit of print. There's a little bit of Chevy Chase, or a little bit of Prince George County. It's coming through. It's coming through. Loud and clear.
That's owing to Mills, buddy.
Loud and clear, brother.
That's owing to Mills. But my point
I just had to ask. I'm a big fan of the DMV. Y'all got one of the cleanest subway systems I've ever ridden in the world. I'm a big fan of public transportation. Your subway is much cleaner than the one here in New York.
So before
I'll
we
tell you
play
that's for sure.
before
We can play the video though. I got it.
Hold up.
I got the video.
Hold up. Before we play the video, in this video, does Ryan say he wants to fight at 136 and he wants a 10-pound rehydration clause? Yes or no?
Play the video and find out what Ryan says.
Okay.
In the
We
video.
can play the video. The video right here.
That's my argument. That's my
Big
argument.
big up to my man Tony P up in the chat. Big up Tony. He another big fan. He love him some Tank Davis out there in England. Big up Tony. All right, here we go. Let's cue this up over here. I got my man Checkmate Boxing straight out of the DMV. And he wants us to play this. So, oh, by the way, I just gave you a follow, Checkmate Boxing on Twitter. So thank you very much for sharing this. Everybody check out Checkmate Boxing.
You don't follow him already?
No, I didn't follow him.
You gotta follow. He's great entertainment value. Man.
I'm following now. I got to support my brother. He called in. He's doing this thing. So here we go.
I know I can make 135. It's really nothing.
What's your fight at?
35.
And what you walk around?
150, 152. I don't think it's going to be a problem because I feel good. I don't like to gain that much weight anyways after the weigh-ins. So I pretty much walk around in the ring at 148. So 146 won't be too much different.
I don't know if you've seen this. A lot's getting made to me much about nothing about.
All right. So first thing I want to say is he says he doesn't have a problem.
It's just 2 minutes, sir. It's just 2 minutes. Please let it play straight.
Hold up. He said he didn't. He said he didn't. He said he didn't have a problem with it. He never said he wanted it. But I got it. We're just gonna play it. We're gonna play it. Don't worry.
Chris Mannix revealed that the fight's going to be a catchweight, and
yeah,
much ado about nothing. I felt like, is it just because of you guys both coming off long layoffs and so you guys don't have to really be pressing your body to make 135?
I mean, yeah, this was agreed to long before the contract was signed. Like, this was already discussed way before we signed the contract. And it really has nothing to do with if I can make 135. I know I can make 135. I'm on track to make 135 right now. I'm 6 pounds away, 7 pounds away. So
can I point out that in this video right here, it says Ryan Garcia asked for a catch weight, no rehydration clause.
At no rehydration clause.
So, but there is a rehydration clause, right? Is there a rehydration clause? Yes or no?
139.
Is there a rehydration clause, though? Yes or no?
No.
139 is a far cry from 136. Can we agree on that?
Let's keep going with the video.
139 is a far cry. 139 is a far cry from 130.
It's okay.
139 is a far cry from 136. Can we agree on that?
Okay,
agree on that?
Let's let the video go. This is a very nicely produced video. I got to give it to Checkmate Boxing. Very nicely produced. Everybody go give Checkmate a follow.
It's really nothing. But this is smart. It's not a title fight. You know what I mean? We're just coming back and we're going to make 139. What's the difference between 4 pounds? I mean,
really nothing.
Really nothing in the sport of boxing. There's really nothing.
Okay. I don't know. I am getting older. But did I hear 135 or did I hear 139?
Dude.
I could have sworn I heard him say 139 ain't no big deal.
Maestro.
Where's the rehydration clause? Where's the rehydration clause? Where's the rehydration clause? Where's the rehydration clause?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Maestro, this is a 2 minute and 19-second video. Can you please?
Okay, I'm playing it. I won't interrupt it anymore. I promise I won't interrupt. Matter of fact, I'm going to run it back a little bit. Okay, I'll run it back, and then I will not speak. I promise. Here we go.
I feel good. I don't like to gain that much weight anyways after the weigh-ins. So I pretty much walk around in the ring at 148. So 146 won't be too much different.
I don't know if you've seen this. A lot's getting made to me much about nothing about the fight being. Chris Mannix revealed that the fight's going to be a catchweight, and
yeah,
much ado about nothing. I felt like, is it just because of you guys both coming off long layoffs and so you guys don't have to really be pressing your body to make 135?
I mean, yeah, this was agreed to long before the contract was signed. Like, this was already discussed way before we signed the contract. And it really has nothing to do with if I can make 135. I know I can make 135. I'm on track to make 135 right now. I'm 6 pounds away, 7 pounds away. So it's really nothing. but this is smart. You know, it's not a title fight. You know what I mean? We're just coming back and we're gonna make 139. What's the difference between 4 pounds? I mean,
Really
it's
nothing.
not really nothing in the sport of boxing. There's really nothing, and I don't blow up in fights to act like I'm fat or something. Like, have I ever blown up after a fight? Even in my long layoff, you could look at me and say Ryan's in shape. He hasn't lost shape. So people are just, they like to shit on me. I know I can make 135. I'm on track to make 135 right now. So it's like, it's really nothing. But this is smart,
To cut all that weight, in the face?
The weight cut.
What you fight at?
35.
And what you walk around?
150, 152.
Yeah. That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
How do you lose that much weight?
You just gotta, it's a lot of sacrifices you gotta do. You gotta go deep into yourself and just know that you're okay to die. That's what you gotta think.
I know I can make 135. Like, it's really nothing. But this is smart.
Oh!
You just incriminated yourself live on air.
Oh, that was great.
To me, sir.
You just incriminated.
That was unbelievable. I had such a good time watching that. But let's go. I gotta hear this.
You just incriminated yourself several times. First of all, he requested 130. He said 139. You said 138. Second of all, there was no rehydration clause. And then he said, I walk around at 152. So by this rehydration clause, he would have to weigh 146 going into the ring, meaning he would be 6 pounds lighter than his rehydrated weight. So he asked for 139. Tank comes back for 136 plus a 10-pound rehydration clause. You don't see the difference in that argument there? You don't see the discrepancy there? You honestly are going to sit there and say you don't see a discrepancy. So he didn't ask for 138. He asked for 139. So that was misinformation number one on your part. Misinformation number two is he never asked for a rehydration clause. So Tank came back with these things. So you just destroyed your own argument because this guy says I'm walking around entering the ring at 150, 152, and now I can only enter the ring at 146. So you're telling me that my rehydrated weight is going to be 4 to 6 pounds lighter than it normally is going into that ring. How do you not process that in your mind? How do you not?
The floor is yours, checkmate.
Okay, I had, see, I show respect. I allow you to finish your thought, and I will never walk over your words. Okay, so allow me the same courtesy. Okay, now what you saw the 139, that was the take go fight. Okay, that was the 139 catch weight for the take go fight. I was showing you that Ryan showing you the evidence that Ryan prefers to fight at catch weight because it's comfortable for his body, where he doesn't care about making 135 anymore. You know why? He's trying to follow in Canelo footsteps. What did Canelo do? Canelo created his own weight class at 155 and nobody complained about it. Canelo Canelo created this one catch weight for 7 fights, and then he also weight drained like 7 fighters as well. Nobody complained about it. So the thing about it is, Tank fights at 135. That's what it is. If he went up to 140 to catch a belt so he could have 3 belts and 3 different weight classes, and he wanted to do that and his team wanted that, that's what he did. He is not a 140 fighter. Ryan is a 135 fighter that's too lazy. As Canelo said, Ryan is too lazy. And he doesn't like to work. He doesn't like to train hard. He comes to the gym and leaves 20 minutes later. This is what Canelo said. Okay. Ryan, in that video, you heard Ryan say, I have no problem with the 146 rehydration because I walk around in the ring at 148. Okay. You also said Ryan said he has no problem. He can make 135. There's no issues. So if Ryan can make 135 with no rehydration clause, why did he choose 136 with the rehydration clause? Because there was no rehydration.
He had no choice.
He did have, well, the choice was to fight at 135. That was the choice.
Well,
the choice.
We don't know that. We don't know. I shouldn't have said that, no choice, because honestly, I don't know. I'm not a manager. I don't got the facts line. I don't have the facts line to these lawyers. No, but I do have a question though.
Let him burn that, because I'm going to go after him, because I'm going to ask him a question. Let him burn the whole time, because he showed me great respect. He didn't interrupt me once. I have to show him that same courtesy.
Let me just go big up to Will Boxing 1 for the 199 super chat. Appreciate you, fam. Right back to it, Joe.
Let him burn, and when he's ready to let me go, I'm gonna just go and I'm gonna ask him a question. And that's it. Let him burn. Go ahead.
Okay. Also in that video, again, I had because I was having this discussion with your boy Two Tone, and Two Tone says again, I have proof that Ryan wanted to fight at 138. Ryan asked for the check weight. For the checkmate. Ryan asked for the catch weight. Tank has never in his life asked for a catch weight. This is Ryan's third catch weight fight in a row. And each of those other previous fights, like I said, the first one was to go at 139. Oh, I came off the layoff. You know, this was comfortable for us. And then with Fortuna, he offered to fight for Fortuna for 7 weeks out. Fortuna say, I'm out of shape. I can't make this weight. So what happened? They said they agreed to fight at 140. It's a catch weight because they are both out on 135 fighters, period. Okay.
Again, can we agree that 140 is not a catch weight? It's an actual weight division in the sport of boxing.
It's a catch weight for two 135 fighters. They were not registered at 140. They were registered at 135.
You don't have to register to be in a weight class. The bout gets sanctioned at a specific weight class.
That was a 135 fight that they couldn't make weight, so therefore instead of trying to cancel the fight, they changed the contract at the last minute to make it to 140. So they can fight within those parameters.
I had Nonito Donaire, not me, but Ness had Nonito Donaire, right? On the Boxing Voice, and we were talking about this issue. And he said, Ness asked him a question. He goes, can you make 112? And he said, yes, I can make 112. And then I said, Ness, no, that's not the question you ask somebody. I said, you don't ask him if he can make 112. Can you fight effectively and be at your best at 112? I have no doubt in my mind that Ryan Garcia can make 135. What I do have a doubt on is his level of effectiveness at 135. If he stepped on the scale in his last fight at 140, the fight before that, he was 138 3/4, which is essentially 139 pounds, right? And the last time he made 135 is 2021. So I agree with you 110%. He did say he could make 135. I agree with that 110%. He did say that, right? But he did not say that he could be at his best at 135 at all, right? So Nonito Donaire said the same thing. He's fought as high as 126. His best weight's probably 118. To this day, he could still make 112. But he conceded the point. Just because I can make that weight doesn't mean I'm going to be at my best. Could an argument be made that fighting at 136 and only rehydrating up 10 pounds, could an argument be made that could hurt Ryan Garcia here? Could an argument be made that he would be better entering that ring at 150 pounds as opposed to entering that ring at 146? Could an argument be made? Could objectively speaking, could all those things be true? Yes or no?
Well, the fact of the matter is he's doing the same thing Canelo did. You know, Canelo, instead of fighting to lose that extra 1 pound, Canelo created his 155 catch weight. Okay. And Ryan is doing the same thing. Ryan said in the video and said many times he can make 135. But if you want to get the competitive advantage, because guess what? You know, we know what Canelo did. We know Canelo got caught juicing with the clenbuterol. Okay, and he was suspended and banned for that. But you also know that WBC and WADA also now allows the legal limit up to where Canelo was banned. So if Canelo was tested back then as if for the rules today, the fight would have been going on. So guess what? So the reason why they did, the Tank's team put that rehydration clause in is because Ryan could be using clenbuterol right now, and you will never know. You've seen the body transformation.
Question real quick.
Yes,
So
sir.
You said that Tank is doing what Canelo has done.
No, I didn't say Tank. I said Ryan. Stop it. Come on, bro.
Oh, Ryan's doing what Canelo has done. Okay, that's why I'm asking. I'm just making sure.
Sir.
I'm just making sure.
Has Canelo ever asked?
No. Let me ask the question, Joe.
Has Canelo ever asked for a rehydration clause?
Why'd you take my question from me? That was my question. That was my question.
Absolutely.
When did he fight with a rehydration? When did Canelo fight with a rehydration clause?
On himself?
Are you
on himself?
Me?
On himself? On himself? He's asked for a rehydration clause on himself?
I could respond to you.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, Canelo had a rehydration clause on Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs missed the weight. Let me finish. Let me
correct. That's incorrect. That's an IBF rule. That's an IBF rule that you cannot weigh more than 10 pounds, and Danny Jacobs blew it. And he weighed over the 10 pounds.
That wasn't Canelo. That wasn't
Canelo.
That
wasn't Canelo. That was you got to speak truth, man. You exaggerate things. You got to tell the truth.
So I can show you article after article. Joe, I've made videos on this subject.
Canelo
my brother
did not request it. He denied it.
I have
he did not request it.
Sir, Canelo put rehydration clause on Danny Jacobs, on Callum Smith, on Kovalev.
He denied that.
Let me finish. Let me
Oscar
finish.
De La Hoya
And
says
he also
no.
put yes, and also yes, he did.
All right, so Tank put a rehydration clause against Rolly Romero. Then I'm just gonna we're just gonna say
there was none. You know why? You know why?
We're just gonna say things. We're just gonna say things.
You know why Tank didn't put a hydration clause on Rolly? Because Rolly was bigger. Rolly was a huge, right? You know why he didn't put it? Rolly might have gained 20 pounds in that.
Rolly was a 14-fight novice. Stop it. Rolly was a 14-fight novice.
That's not my point.
Who got knocked out because he got no idea what he's doing in there.
Okay, but guess what?
Leaning in forward, getting countered like that. Get out of here with Rolly.
Caleb Smith and Eddie Hearn. Caleb Smith and
me to make my point.
Caleb Smith.
You asked me a question.
Caleb Smith and Eddie Hearn both said. Caleb Smith and Eddie Hearn both said there was not a rehydration clause in that fight. They both said it.
I can show you all the articles with that, sir. I
can show you articles that are saying Pacquiao's going to fight Ryan Garcia. What does that mean?
Listen. What
does that mean?
2 minutes. We got 2 minutes left, and then we're going over to my channel. We got 2 minutes left. So, checkmate. You can make your point, and we can continue it over there afterwards. Go for it.
Okay, we can do that. Okay, but and also the video here, this is Calvin Ford saying that Ryan asked for the fight. He wanted the 136 instead of the 135, and by choosing the 136, that was going to get the clause. Ryan if he fought at 135, there's no clause. Now the reason why Raleigh didn't get a hydration clause because he fought at 135. If Ryan fought Tank at 135, there would be no rehydration clause. Period. You guys are blaming Tank for something that Ryan asked for. You know what I mean? Why don't you get your boy?
We're not blaming anybody. We're not blaming anything on anybody. We're just stating what was done. One guy asked for a catch weight. One guy asked for a catch weight. Again, one guy asked for a catch weight of 139.
Ryan asked for the catch weight
with no rehydration clause. The other guy counters with that 136 with a 10-pound rehydration clause. Can you at least admit that one guy wanted a catch weight at 139 with no rehydration clause? Then the counter was no 136 with a rehydration clause. Can you admit that?
I can admit that. Tank wanted 135. Ryan wanted the rehydration clause. If you wanted to
Ryan asked for a rehydration, he denies it
because who denied it? Who denied
Ryan
it?
Garcia did not ask for Ryan did not ask for a rehydration clause.
Joe, 1 minute remaining. Okay. 1 minute remaining.
Okay, you can play the video on your channel then.
We'll do it over on my channel because we're going over there. Part 2 of the discussion, everybody that's here is going to be also interesting for those that want to continue talking about Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis. Okay.
No one's denying that Ryan didn't ask for a catch weight.
Part two is going to be very interesting. Part two is going to be very interesting.
No, we are not.
Part two is all about level of competition.
We're not
the scorecard. Davis Garcia, by the numbers, whose resume is better? We'll finish this debate to start the show over there, and then we'll get into part two of the discussion. Everybody head over. Joe, any last words before we head over there?
No one's denying Ryan did not ask for a catch weight. We're denying that Ryan asked for 136 with a 10-pound rehydration clause.
No, Ryan didn't ask for 136. I never said Ryan asked for 136. I said Ryan chose. I said Ryan chose 136.
Facts.
He chose. If he chose 135, there is no rehydration clause. He can go to 50.
Can I ask you a question? If Ryan says no, let me ask you an honest question.
Checkmate.
Let me ask you a question.
Checkmate.
If Ryan says no to 136 and he says no to the 10-pound rehydration clause, does this fight get made? Yes or no?
If Ryan says yes to 135, there's no rehydration clause.
You didn't answer the question.
If Ryan says yes to the normal 135
you didn't answer the question.
Parameters,
you didn't answer the question.
No rehydration clause. You mean to tell me your boy who's
a weight that he hasn't made in 2 years. He hasn't made 135 in 2 years, and he moved up to 140, and he fought his last fight at 140, right? So why didn't he just fight his last two fights at 135 if he can make 135? The circumstantial evidence is proving you wrong. He said 139 with no rehydration clause. And then the counter offer to that was 136 with 10-pound rehydration clause. Facts, he agreed to it. Facts, he's got to do it. Facts, if he doesn't say yes to those two things, the fight does not get made. That's why he said yes.
There you go. Checkmate. You can have your rebuttal. We're going to head over. I put it in the private chat. Link is also in the chat over here. This was a special edition of Beating the Odds with Beeb. I don't think anybody beat Beeb today on this one. Definitely didn't beat me either.